In this episode of Microsoft 365 Business Boost, Thurman and I tackle this issue. We both work as consultants specializing in different areas of Microsoft 365, and as small business owners, we understand the challenges on each side of these types of relationships. I hope this episode will help you to better understand what you should expect in engaging a consultant and how you can benefit from using these types of resources in your business. As consultants looking at different parts of Microsoft 365, there's often a challenge in people just understanding what it is that we do, why they should be using us, and what value we bring to the table. So we thought it would be great to be able to have a conversation about that today and maybe help some of the audience members out there to understand just what you can get by going with a consultant versus maybe some of the other solutions that people already have that they're contracted with for IT support, whether that be internal or external to their business.
Yeah. Agreed. And I mean, I'm always excited to talk to you, but more excited to let these folks know what they have at their fingertips. So, yeah, same here. I'm ready to get started. You know what I mean? I want to help these folks out.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about what is the analogy that I want to kind of convey in this conversation. And, I think the big one for me is that a lot of the people that I start working with already have some kind of IT support, whether that's that they go for a managed services provider or they have someone in their own team that's been fixing up their Windows servers for the last 20 years or whatever it may be. They've got some support there. And often the conversation starts with, well, I've got this guy or I've got this company and they're doing my IT for me. So why do I need help with X? And I always think about it like this: like say you have a building and you hire a facilities manager, right? And your facilities manager is making sure that your locks work and making sure the lights are on and making sure the place is clean, and so on and so forth. If you're going to build a new building and you're like, I'm going to build a new outlet for whatever business I've got, you don't just go to your facilities manager and say, okay, you're responsible. You get some bricks, you get some concrete, you go and build that building. Like it's an entirely different job. Just because you've got someone taking care of what you need over here doesn't mean that you've got someone building what you need over here. No one would do that. They would go and they would hire an architect. They would hire a general contractor. Everyone understands that. But when it comes to IT, it's like, I've got someone doing my IT without understanding that IT is this huge thing where just because you've got someone who knows how your firewall works doesn't mean you've got anyone over here making sure you're getting business value from Microsoft 365.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I want to, that reminds me of how I got started, because where I was working, the people I was supporting, they were, a little on the older end. And so they looked to me like I came in to do, I forgot exactly what it was, but it was in the realm of IT. So everything IT that came up that they didn't really want to deal with, or they was just like, this is too much, they was like, hey, Thurman, can you do it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I could do it. I could figure it out. No problem. You know what I mean? And it was a bunch of IT stuff. But then SharePoint comes along. It was 2009. And while everything IT was being thrown at me, I didn't know about SharePoint the way I do now. Somebody who did know about SharePoint, they sat me down as the IT person and was like, here's what you have at your fingertips. Here's what you can do. Here's how we can, get started with this, and this. So I like your analogy. I want to add on top of that and say that that's the situation I always think of, is that you don't even know what you have, type thing. And a consultant could come in there and highlight all of these things. Like, just, you're working. You have work to do. That's completely understandable. But when you have somebody who is understanding the work you do, but then also knows that tool that you're using, like the back of their hand, and could come in there and show you like a cell phone. You got your cell phone, you're probably texting, taking pictures, going on social media. Little do you know, there's a billion other things you could do on your phone to just, make your life better or make your life more entertaining or whatever. So I like that too, where it's like, you don't even know what you have at your fingertips, and a consultant could come in and highlight that for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's important to highlight that by saying that, I don't think either of us mean any disrespect to those people. Maybe a one man shop that's working in a particular business who's the IT support there, or a smaller managed services provider. There's no disrespect there. It's important that you have people who are specialists in a lot of different things. It's just important that you bring together the team of specialists that you need to get what you need done.
Mm-hmm.
And one person or one small company very often can't be that whole team of specialists for everything that you need done.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
more support there.
definitely. I was talking to a client yesterday who, the way that she decided to call me was that there were people arguing about SharePoint. She's like, all right, everybody relax. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call Thurman. I have a guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So the folks who were arguing about SharePoint, apparently it was like they didn't have they did what you do with SharePoint. You don't really know much, but you can, look up some YouTube videos, try to put some stuff together. And then when you get there, what you've put together is kind of like a hodgepodge thing. And so now you're having to go back over things and rewire things, and it gets a little out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the part of, pardon me, then there's the part of where it's not a technical thing anymore.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about knowledge management. Now we're talking about relationships, who's going to do what, all that other type of stuff. I do like to toot my own horn and say that I deal with that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
But again, they're in a situation where they know a little bit about SharePoint. They did enough, but then leadership is like, all right, you need to relax. Maybe we need to call a specialist into here. You know what I'm saying? And like we fill so many holes, you know what I'm saying, as consultant. We could do a lot.
I suppose the point is that there's a lot of content out there that you can go to. Like, I mean, this is going to be published on YouTube. I have a lot of videos on YouTube explaining different things to do with Microsoft 365. You do as well. You have your podcast where you talk about these things. So there's a lot of content out there that can lead people to think, well, I can get by. I can get by with this, and particularly in the market that I think I work in more than you do, of the very small businesses as well. This kind of prevalent idea of, well, I can get by.
Mm-hmm.
What is the downside, do you think, of organizations just trying to get by like that, of just using these free resources and ignoring the expertise that's behind them?
There's too much at risk. So can you get by with, I don't know, let's say something with your car. Maybe you could get by with something minor because, it's not going to blow up your engine. It's not going to blow up your transmission, and you'll still be able to drive. So you can get by with something minor, a crack in your windshield. You know what I'm saying? But when the stakes are high, like you can't get by with something that's on the verge of blowing up your engine, because is that a fixable problem? Yes, but it's a huge problem if you have to fix it. So getting by is not where you want to be. I think you should only get by if you have to. If that's all you can do, then by all means, get by. You know what I'm saying? You got work to do. But if you have the resources to not get by, you don't want to just get by, you want to thrive. If you want to thrive, then that's where you want to be, not getting by. Getting by is not going to cut it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I know one of the things that I run into, Thurman, when I'm talking to clients, is that there can be a perception of a consultant being a very expensive option. I think this is key to particularly the discussion that I see with very small businesses that aren't used to using consultants for anything. What's your discussion that you would have with a client to kind of ease that out and to understand?
Well, I will say that your business that you own, business owner, talking to you have consultants all the time. So, like I was talking about, that remodeling the bathroom, right? So let's say that you have a business and you want to paint the walls. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hire someone who's going to talk to you about why this is important for you to do. You already find it important. So you're good to go there. You already find it important. But now you need to talk to somebody who's a specialist. So you say, we're remodeling the the lounge or whatever. Let's say you got a small business, you're remodeling the lounge. And you might get one person that comes and talks to you who is a consultant, who's going to say, tell me what you want to do. And then you say, all right, well, I want to have this, like, I want to put this wall, make an accent wall here. I want to be able to make these colors here. I don't really know what goes best there. I'm trying to have it done like this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That person will consult with you and say, all right, well, we can do this. You can definitely put these two colors together. We can make this happen, if they're even into that. Maybe you talk to somebody who already can tell you about colors. I don't know. And then that person, once you solidify it, will probably send in a team of people to come in there and do that. So maybe it's a little bit different where your consultant might not be doing the actual implementation and the work,
Mhm.
but they have a team. The point is, you consult with people all the time. We just so happen to be in IT, and IT is is an expensive area. So how important is it to you
Yeah.
to get these things done? You know what I'm saying? You do it all the time. We're just in IT. That's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
I mean, the thing is, like yesterday, we're recording this on Friday. Yesterday and the day before, I took out several hours of my day because it was Microsoft Ignite. And I was watching some of those sessions. Um, while I'm watching those sessions, I'm building knowledge that I'm then able to use for my clients.
Yep.
And so when a client gets a bill from me, a little bit of that bill is paying for the fact that I'm spending time being able to do that because Microsoft isn't going to pay me to watch their event. That isn't the
Hmm.
way that works. I mean, I wish it was, but it's not the way that it works. So I think if you were going to have an employee in your business that was going to sit there and keep track of, let's just think about Microsoft 365, all the different announcements there are, all the different products, all the different options there are in there. If you were going to have an employee in every single company that was going to sit and try to keep track of that and what the business value of those different options was, you would be spending a huge amount more money than bringing in a specialist and getting an afternoon or a day spent on helping you with those kinds of things.
Yep.
So I think that there's a misconception. And I think the other misconception is that, going back to what we were saying at the start of the video, that you're already paying for IT, and so that should cover everything. And there's no way that can be an all you can eat. And it's kind of like your idea of you bring in some people who are going to renovate your employee lounge. Well,
Hmm.
they're not going to just out of the goodness of their heart go and then renovate your offices as well.
Right.
If you get them to renovate your lounge, that's what they're going to do. And when we think about either the IT support that you have in house or IT support like MSP services that you've bought in from outside, as a business owner or as the leader of technology within a business, you've bought a certain selection of services. And unless that selection of services has included a decent amount of time spent on adoption, spent on training of your staff, spent on business process analysis, spent on all the different things that you would need to do to be getting the most out of your software or the tools that you've got, then probably no one in your business is doing that.
Right. Yeah.
And
Facts.
you're just leaving money on the table. Essentially, you're paying out money to get half of the job done. Imagine if you'd paid out all the money to get the walls painted in your lounge, but you'd never paid anyone to put all the furniture back. You would have
Right.
paid the money to get the lounge renovated, but no one in your business would be getting any benefit out of it because you'd only done half the job.
Right. Just like you, I like to use analogies, and I'm like, if you're trying to get in shape, how important is it to you to hire a trainer? What do
Mm,
you want to do there? If you already know what you're doing in the gym and you're knocking it out, cool. But there are multiple reasons why you would hire a trainer. Education. How intelligent is this person in their field?
mm,
So to your point about sitting down there and going to Ignite, what kind of person is this? Do they attend trainings? Do they always level up? Do they recertify? Whatever it is that they're doing, that's a big deal. And you can ask that. You can say, well, what are your credentials? How long have you been doing this? How do you keep up? Whatever, that type of stuff. The same thing with when you're dealing with them. Do they make concepts easy for you to understand? Why do you have to put the squat bar lower on your shoulders than high up on your shoulders? They know these things. Are you seeing results? That's another thing. So you're paying so you could get results. So 3 months from now, just like when you go into the gym, and in this trainer analogy, you are not expecting to see results the next day. You know what I mean? You got to put in some work. And the trainer's not putting in all the work. The trainer's doing their part, and then you have to do your part. And then we can reevaluate in like 3 months. I will, though, say we could probably knock some things out faster in 3 months, but still, you know what I'm saying? That's the point. Is if you think of the value you get with hiring a trainer and you want to get in shape, then think of it the same way. What's important to you in your IT footprint? How do you want to get some help with that? That's where consultants come in.
Yeah. And what's important to you in your business footprint, and where do you even think that technology could help you? I think often that's the start of the conversation. Like, that technology piece doesn't necessarily need to be fleshed out. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
can simply be, hey, we're having this set of problems. And is there a technology solution that could help us? And I think the conversation can even be that early of, we're thinking of doing this, or this is a challenge that we're seeing, or this is something new that's in the market. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily need to be, hey, I've seen this technology, can you implement it for me? That
Right.
expertise can come before that. So say you have a new client or you have a prospective client, Thurman, and someone gives you a call and they're interested in using you as a consultant. What do you what does that conversation look like for that client, and what do you want to what questions do you want them to ask you in order to be able to get the best relationship started?
So I think one of my skills is that I'm a very good listener. And I mean, in and out of professional life, I'm like really, really, really good at listening. So that's the first thing. If me and you were out and we were talking and you was telling me something about your life or whatever, I am locked in like if I'm watching a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So that's the very first thing. I make it all about the customer where they could have mouth vomit. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm listening the whole time. Then my second step is I ask really good questions. Pardon me. And I don't even want to call them really good questions because that's subjective. I ask important questions based off of the context that you just gave me. So when I go sit down with another client and they're telling me this, and this, my questions are not like these staple questions that I have. I don't have any staple questions. I have questions that I ask you based off of what you just told me
mm,
because I've
mm,
been listening very well. So after I've done the listening and then I've done my questioning, now we move into the recommendation zone. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, I'm still kind of asking questions though, because I still want to know. Instead of saying, well, here's what you need to do, my thing is going, well, what does this sound like to you? Do you think this would work? Because I really do want to know. It's not like a sales
mm.
tactic or whatever. I'm saying my brain is firing. I've come up with 3 solutions, but let me work them through you to see what these sound like to you. And that's the third step. If I say that there's a fourth step, it's letting the customer come to their decision. And me just I just guided you there. I didn't say you need to do this. There are some times where I might need to check into the human element, which I'm doing the whole time. I'm listening. I'm recommending, but the human element tells me other things, and this comes from listening, right? So if you seem like you're not really in a position in the company to do certain
Mm,
things,
mm,
I'm gonna ask you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how have you implemented something before? Like, what's the vibe between you and this other office? Like, how do things work? These are important things, and one of the things I think sets me apart as a consultant, because can I come in there, listen, get quick, give you the recommendation, then earn the money, and then give you the solution, and then walk away? Hell yeah, I could do that.
mm,
But that
mm.
ain't in my vibe. That's not in my makeup. I don't operate that way. So the way that I approach it, to answer your question, is one, I'm gonna listen really well. Then two, I'm gonna ask questions. Then three, we're gonna move into the recommendation zone. And then the fourth is gonna be, this is where we just start. It turns into a conversation. We'll come up with we'll close the deal. But at this point, I'm like, I could be anywhere. They could have
Mm.
said something like, yo, their kid just started basketball, and I'm talking to them about basketball. Because that's just what I do. But yeah, that's my process right there.
Yeah,
Over and over every time.
And I think that's so important, because I think what you're outlining is that your way of working is not a transactional way of working. It's not
Hmm.
that someone picks up the phone and says, "Hey Thurman, I'm having this specific problem," and you say, "Hey, this is the specific answer to that problem," and they say, "Thank you, goodbye," and that's the end of it. Like,
Hmm.
what you're doing, and I think what consultants in this field need to do in order to get the best out of those relationships is really invest in building those relationships. You have to understand what's going on in the business, and I think very often that the clients that are the best clients are the ones that are willing to have that conversation. The
Hmm.
clients that are, in my opinion, the worst clients are the ones that already believe they have the answer, and they're just talking to you because they want someone from outside to reinforce what they think they already know. And I
Hmm.
mean, sometimes people do already know the right answer and they're up on their technology and they do understand it and they just need a bit of help, and that's fine. But there are also people who have very little idea of what's going on and just see outsourcing to a consultant as a way of getting a stamp of approval on making the wrong decision. And I don't like working in that way. I like building a relationship. I like it to be a back and forth. I like a client to be able to say, "Hey, that's not going to work for me," but I also like to be able to say to a client, "Hey, that's not going to work for you, and we need to think about it in a different way."
Yes, yes, that's very important. If you are a consultant right now watching this, and maybe you're coming up and you're thinking about doing this IT consulting, any consulting, don't placate to the customer. Talk to them like they're a regular person and you have their best interests at heart. I know it could feel like, oh man, but I don't want to lose the sale, which is a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
uh discussion that like to I have my own thoughts about that, let's just say. But instead of coming from a position of I don't want to lose the sale, think of your family member who you are cool with, who will show you the cell phone and say, "Can you help me with this?" And you really have context on how their life works. And so you're going to make real recommendations to them. You're not going to be scared to tell them what's up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be rude. You don't want to be like, "Yo, that's a stupid idea. You shouldn't do that." You should be like, "Well, let's think about why this will or will not work, or
Yeah.
let's think about what the future looks like." Stuff like that. You don't got to be rude, but just be real with the customer. Tell them what's up. Tell them what's on your mind, and speak from your experience. They will so much more appreciate that than you gassing them into thinking like everything is gonna work. It's not.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're entirely correct. I mean, if I look back on the clients that I've worked with, there have certainly been ones where you kind of get that spidey sense at the start that things aren't quite where you want them to be, and you go down the path because it looks like a nice contract, and those things invariably never work out as you want them to work out. And as time has gone on, I've become a lot more solid on my foundation of saying no. I don't want to work on this. I'm not going to work on this. This isn't the right thing for me. Is that to say
Mhm.
that project is a bad project? Not necessarily, but
Right.
I'm not the right person for that project. And in the same way that if you go to a job interview, you interview for a job, you get a tour of the company, you meet different people there. Like, just because someone's made you a job offer, you don't always jump at it and say, "Yeah, I'm going to come and work for you." Like, sometimes you do say, "Yeah, I'm going to work for you," and other times you say, "This doesn't feel right. This isn't the right type of vibe of a company. I don't think I'm going to get along with the boss. I don't think this is the right kind of compensation package." Whatever it may be, there's lots of reasons that you would say no, and exactly the same is true for consultancy work, that
Mhm.
sometimes it just doesn't feel like a good fit. And if you've got someone as a consultant, if you're a customer and you feel like that consultant is always saying yes just to get more business from you, that's probably not going to be a good relationship for you either. It's not going to be a good relationship for that consultant. It's not going to be a good relationship for your business. And maybe move on to someone else who feels like they've got a bit more skin in the game and getting things right.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't want to go down this path because it's a windy path. However, I'm very big on you need money. See what I'm saying? What works for me because of the way my money is set up.
Mm,
If you do not have money and you need to pay bills, the rules apply to you differently. 1000%. I've been there before. Things change. So if you are like me, when I was younger, I see things so literal. When somebody says something literal, I'm like, oh, well, I should never take a bad deal. And I always got to do this and a third. I'm not telling you to take the bad deals. I'm just telling you things might be different if you don't
mm,
have
mm.
money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Uh, that's just another story. So I just want to put that out there.
And there's nothing wrong with people pushing themselves. I think every day, like you take on things that maybe are slightly out of your comfort zone occasionally. Like
Mhm.
I had a client that I was working with recently, and my proposal to this client, I helped them find a new piece of software that they were going to work with in their business. I went through that process. And my top recommendation to them was I want to get a third party who's a specialist in this piece of software because I know it fairly well, but I am not a specialist. And my
Mhm.
client said to me, I really don't want to build a relationship with someone else. I understand that you are not the top specialist in this software, but I like the way you work and I'd like to work with you on this. And so, can you put together a proposal to help me with this implementation? And so, in that case, yeah, I did that because I was able to be honest with them about where I stood and what I was bringing to it. They were
Mhm.
able to be honest with me about what they felt I was bringing to that deal. And we were able to continue on from that point of view with a positive relationship. And there are
Mhm.
things that I've learned through doing that, and there's things that they've learned through doing that as well. So I don't think
Absolutely.
there's anything wrong with people pushing themselves and to say, hey, I'm going to try something new, but it has to come from a position of honesty. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's really, really important.
I want to make one more recommendation too. You ever read uh, "Getting Naked" by Pat Lencioni?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. So first of all, one of my favorite authors because he writes business fables, and the reason that I like his books is because they're actually stories. It's hard for me to finish a business book that's just going from point to point. I
Mm,
like
mm,
stories. This book right here. This book, one of my favorite books, will what it did for me is not teach me how to be a consultant, but it solidified what I was already doing. Everything you're talking about, Nick, the same things I'm talking about, solidified in that book. So if you are, I read it not thinking I was going to get solidified. I was just looking for another good book. I thought I was going to learn some new stuff, which I did a little bit, but it was more so like, Thurman, you're on the right path. If you are trying to figure out what me and Nick are saying and probably condensed in one book and you like books, check out that book. You know what I mean? It's a really good book and it's all about being a consultant. It's called Getting Naked because it's like, you when you're naked, you're vulnerable. You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
So
mm.
you want to get naked for your clients. You know what I'm saying? But not in the literal sense. But
Yeah,
go check that book out.
that's a big upcharge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
Or a
man, but
big
go check it out.
credit on the invoice, depending on which way you covered it, I guess.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. Check the book out. Oh shit. But yeah, yeah. Just check that book out. I think it's a good book, and I think it'll help you become a better consultant.
Yeah, I think there's a lot out there, and there's a lot for clients to read as well. I think that the fact that this is a two-way relationship, the more that you can understand the mindset of people who are coming to you and helping you in whatever field, I think the better. And if you're a client of these kinds of services, well, you're probably looking for someone, you want someone who wants to add value to you, who is passionate about adding value. And certainly, my point of view is I try to help people whether they're paying or not. Within reason. If someone asks me a question, I'm not going to say, "Well, I'll answer that question when you pay me a couple of $100."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I'll try to answer that question, but at the same time, if it's a question that's going to end up in lots more questions, then I want that to evolve into a different type of relationship. And
Mhm.
from a client's point of view, if you're getting someone who just says to you, well, I can answer that question, I know about that, it's only going to take me 3 minutes, but here's my contract, that you need to sign ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
that probably isn't a good relationship. But at the
Right.
same time, I've had people, and particularly doing stuff on social media and so on and so forth, I've had people who try to take advantage of that as well. Like, I'm a helpful person. I'm sure you have exactly the same thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't just want an answer to one question. They want an answer as to how to plan out their entire project, how to implement their entire Power Platform solution,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc. And you need to be reasonable in that as well. If you run a business, and it's going to be a successful business, then you should have the capacity to have the right tools and the right help in order to run that business successfully.
Yeah.
If you can't afford the right tools and the right help, then maybe there's more fundamental issues there with the business that you're running than the
Mm-hmm.
problem that you see in front of you. So I think it's all to do with what makes sense and what is fair. I very much am someone who's about fairness. Like, I want to be fair with everyone. I want to be honest with everyone. I think that honesty for me is up there in the things that I look for in anyone who's doing business.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when you're bringing someone in to give you advice, you need to be honest with them, and they need to be honest with you. But that honesty needs to go both ways.
Yeah. We have to do the same things. We have to hire people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we are online promoting businesses, growing businesses, right? I right now have a team that I've hired to help me with marketing and all that other stuff. That's not my world. And I don't got time to be, I thought I had time to sit down and consume all these people's contents, put into play what they said. But at the end of the day, this is for me. I found out what they're giving away is not enough for me to go and truly
Mm-hmm.
thrive. It's like what you were talking about earlier. Can I get by? Yes. But I don't want to get by. I want to thrive. And if I want to thrive, I need specialists. That's just the bottom line. If I see that, like the person putting together their bathroom online, DIY in it, I could look at that, but I'm not looking at that. And now I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do it. I used to think that. Now I'm like, okay, that looks like, that's educational. I understand it. I need somebody to come do that for me now. I'm not doing it. So even more so, when you're talking about consultant, especially IT consultant, if you have where it's 2023, many parts of your business are going to be tied to IT. You need somebody to come look at it. Just ask, get involved, start to do the vetting process. Who do you like working with? Maybe if I left them with something, we could say like, and this might change. I'm gonna make this up on the spot. The consultant triangle. So you need 3 pieces. Are they knowledgeable? Are they reliable? And are they likable? I think these 3 things are important because you need to be reliable, as in we've consulted and here's the thing. Now I need you to deliver. You need to be knowledgeable because I'm asking you, you're the expert. And if you I don't expect you to know everything, but I expect you to know a lot and make me go, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's important. And then, can I talk to you? Are you a D-bag or are you cool to talk to? You know what I'm saying? And even if you are a D-bag, when you talk to me, you're cool, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get my advice from somebody who's talking down to me or talking at me. I want to have a real conversation with you, hang out, you know what I'm saying, see what's going on. And then take that away. That's your consultant triangle. It might change in the future.
So,
That's all I got.
so thinking about where we're at right now, and obviously there's a lot going on in the IT space, particularly, well, there
Right.
always is, but particularly this year, the pace of change and the pace of opportunity seems to have accelerated beyond anything that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the most important thing that you think, if you're a business owner, if you're the manager of services in a particular business, what should someone be reaching out to you, specifically reaching out to Thurman about today?
SharePoint. If you are paying for Microsoft 365, you have a tool inside of there called SharePoint, and it will change your life. If you are dealing with spreadsheet chaos, if you do not have an intranet for your business, that's a internet basically, but it's internal to your business. And if you are paying for the Microsoft 365 suite and you don't even have, forget SharePoint. If you're just using Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, you're not getting the most out of your payments. You're
Yep.
not getting the most out of your service. So reach out to me specifically for SharePoint. And if you need, and I know a good amount about other tools that work in conjunction with SharePoint,
Mm-hmm.
but even if I don't know about a specific tool, man, my network has grown to the point where I got somebody for everything. So yeah, SharePoint.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. For me, I think it's very much AI right now. I think there's lots of questions out there about AI. How is it going to impact businesses? How can you prepare for it? When we're thinking about Microsoft specifically, Copilot for Microsoft 365, but a lot of those other Copilot products as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in the market that I work in, small businesses and smaller non-profits, there's this demand to be doing more, to be achieving more, and there aren't necessarily that connection with the tools to be able to do it. Well, in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, AI is the answer. And a lot of people I'm talking to, they're not getting answers that are relevant to their business. They're not finding a route forward. And I've been working with businesses to put together a digital transformation strategy for a while now. And now those digital transformation strategies include AI and include thinking about preparing for AI, training staff, and transforming the business in relation to how AI works. And I think this is the most important aspect of IT right now. That if you need a plan, you need a plan that includes how is AI going to impact your business? Because frankly, even if you're not using it inside your business, it may already be impacting it,
Yeah, yeah,
and it certainly is going to impact it in the future. Um,
yeah. I agree with that. If you're talking about most important in IT right now, 1,000,000% is AI. But yeah, me specifically, I'm gonna say SharePoint, and
yeah.
then reach out to Nick for AI stuff.
What have you been following any of the stuff? The announcements with SharePoint Premium?
I have.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was at Ignite trying to get in and out of Ignite yesterday.
Mm.
Um, but it was actually Suhail, shout out to Suhail, who messaged me and was like, "Did you hear?" And I was like, "What?" He told me about SharePoint Premium, and then I went digging, and I'm like, "Oh my god, how did I miss this?" You know what I'm saying? So I missed it while trying to attend Ignite all day, but I am still sinking my teeth into it
Mm. Mm.
to where I can clearly say to somebody else, "Here's what Premium is."
Yeah.
So I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting times, but within the context of the conversation that we've had, I think these sorts of changes, these kinds of new products, they bring out questions, right? And it does take time to wrap your heads around them. But at the same time, if you're a business owner and you hear, well, right now we've just got standard SharePoint, and Microsoft is bringing out SharePoint Premium. Hey, we're going to need to think about getting that SharePoint Premium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not as straightforward as that, and
Right.
from looking into this already, it's like, well, that premium naming, like usually if you're like, hey, I'm going to go and stay in a premium hotel, right? A
Mm-hmm.
premium hotel, you still get a room, you still get a bed. It's probably a nicer bed, a more comfortable bed. It's better sheets. It might be a bigger room, but
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally, it's exactly the same that you're getting as the cheapest hotel you could buy. You still get a room and you still get a bed, right? It's just the
Mm-hmm.
difference is the one is more premium.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that Microsoft entirely understands that. Because, like if you've got SharePoint and you go and you buy SharePoint Premium, you're not just getting like an upgrade on what you've already got. You're getting a different set of products for a different purpose.
Okay.
And I don't think that's always understood. It's the same with Teams, Teams Premium. I mean, you might need some of those features, you might not. Are you just getting like an accelerated version of Teams? No, you're not. It's not the same concept as getting a premium hotel. So these kinds of things, if you're a business owner and you just want to throw more money at your IT, you can go out and you can buy all of these licenses.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get better just by going out and buying licenses. You need a plan, you need an adoption plan, you need to know where they're
Strategy.
going to fit into your business. You need to truly understand what it is that you're buying.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and if
Strategy.
you're
It's all about strategy.
yeah, if you're going to throw money at it, then throw money at knowledge. Don't necessarily throw money at product. Throw money at
Mm-hmm.
knowledge so you can buy the right product that fits in with what you're trying to do. Because I mean, we're not too far away from a $200 a month, a $300 a month Microsoft 365 user right now if you were to buy everything that's in there and available and those with all those add-ons.
Yeah. To your point about throwing money at knowledge, I definitely think that that's where we are now, because specifically with Microsoft and their suite of tools, they have a bunch of tools. The success rate, the gap between you and those tools is education. The smarter you get on what you can do with these things, the better you can apply it to your business. Period. You know what I mean? When you know what you can do, you're dangerous because you also know about your business. If you know your business better than anybody, obviously, and you really understand this technology, or somebody is putting you on about the technology, you then go, oh, you can connect the dots and start really leveling up your business. So I agree. It's about education, not just buying up the tools. And about SharePoint Premium, the reason I said that I'm still wrapping my head around it is because of that. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is what do I tell a client? What do I tell them when they say, "Oh man, I want that premium. You got that premium?" Like, yeah, let me see what it's about first. Do you even need it? You know what I'm saying? So let me do that first. And I'm still doing it.
Exactly. And you know, if you're a contractor and you go out and you buy a few boxes of screws, you know, you buy your team the best hammers in the world, it's not going to work for them. You know, like that's the issue. I think a lot of the time those connections with the physical world, anyone would look at it and be like, oh yeah, I get why that's wrong. But you take those things into the digital world, and you've got a lot more people who are kind of scratching their heads at it and being like, I don't understand this. So this doesn't make sense. And people like us, not just us, but people in our community, in our field, are the ones that help you connect those dots. And that dot connection power is what is going to set your business and the success of your business apart from your competitors.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
So what's going on with you this week, Thurman? Any opportunities for people to kind of connect with you and to reach out? I know we've got Thanksgiving coming up, so it's probably a slow week for a lot of people. But what have you got going on?
Oh yeah. So listen, if you're a government contractor watching this, I have a workshop that I'm doing on Small Business Saturday. That's November 25th. I do a workshop every month, but this month in particular, I am holding this one for government contractors who have to track task orders, and they're doing it in the most inefficient way. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, I need you to come to this workshop so that you can find out how, when you win these contracts with the government, how do you execute? How do you manage the things that you got to execute? Your task orders, your tasks, your deliverables, the personnel that are working these tasks, all of that. I guarantee you're doing it inside of Word documents, spreadsheets. You have a monthly report that you have to send to the government, or a few of them, and you are collecting that through a Word document. Just come to the workshop and I'll show you how to streamline all of that so we can get rid of that headache. You know what I mean? It's November 25th. We can put the link in the description of this video.
We'll put the link in the description. And just to clarify, this isn't for technical people. If you're a technical person connected with a business who has those kinds of contracts, and you've got people in your business that are struggling with these processes, it's the people who are struggling with the processes that can come to your workshop and benefit from that.
Which are highly likely the project managers. I work with project managers, because what will happen is the contracting company will win the contract. Then there's going to be a project manager or multiple project managers that are over various task orders. If you are on a task order and you're a project manager and you are ripping your hair out because this is super annoying and you just want to do your job, come to the workshop. I'm sure it was good.
Yeah, well, that sounds good.
What about you? What you got going on, Nick?
Well, I've got a few interesting videos in the pipeline, actually. I've been playing around with ChatGPT's new custom GPTs. So I'm going to get some stuff out about that. I've also been playing around with the new Copilot Studio, which is kind of an interesting addition to Copilot. So I have a whole bunch of AI stuff that I've got in the pipeline right now that'll be coming out, and really trying to focus in on, like, what is the business value of a lot of these different things, and what should you be spending your time worrying about.
Hmm.
So look out for that. Obviously, out on the YouTube channel. Personally, it's my birthday tomorrow, so
Nice.
I'm going to spend the weekend not worrying about Microsoft 365.
Well, happy birthday. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you,
You got
thank
plans?
you. My wife does. I don't know what they are yet, so she keeps
Okay.
telling me it's a surprise. So
Did you
we'll
did
see.
you did you get a surprise last year on your birthday?
I did not get a surprise last year on my birthday, so
Okay.
this may be a big surprise. I don't
Okay.
know, to make up for the fact that I didn't get one last year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Now I'm interested. Now I want to know. Next time we talk, I want to
I'll
know how
I'll
your birthday
report
was.
back next time
Okay.
as to what happened.
Good deal. Good deal.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks for connecting, Thurman. I hope this has been useful to everyone watching, and certainly I enjoy these conversations, and we'll keep doing these to try to help out those that are in our community that are wanting something to do with tech, but also a little bit different to do with how do you get more value out of your tech for your business. So
Yeah, absolutely.
if anyone's got any feedback, then I think we'd both be happy to hear it. We're just trying to help everyone out by sharing the love of sharing the knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention, follow me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Or just reach out to me on LinkedIn. That THERMAN Trotman. I'm there every single day, so I will respond within 24 hours. So if you want to reach out, find me on LinkedIn.
And we'll put links down below for everything that we've talked about.
Good deal.
All right. Take care, Thurman. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same to you. Appreciate it.